Good afternoon, thank you. Republicans used reconciliation process for health care, tried to a couple of years ago, used it for the tax code. When you look at what the Democrats might try to do with using this for immigration, when there are, they say, credible GDP and deficit reduction issues through immigration, why would you oppose that if they were to get a ruling in their favor from the Senate parliamentarian on reconciliation?
Well, look, the honest broker on establishing what the Byrd Rule requires of any particular effort to insert into reconciliation is the Senate parliamentarian. The way the process works, if the majority, which is trying to move a bill through reconciliation, tries to insert something that's a question, is basically like an oral argument before the parliamentarian. And the parliamentarian, both sides agree, is the final word. Can't blame the other side for trying to use reconciliation as expansively as they want to. That's always the temptation of the majority, using the reconciliation process. But abiding by the ruling of the parliamentarian is essential to the function of the Senate. And so the parliamentarian will decide that issue.
But would you oppose it?
I can't hear you.
I said on voting rights yesterday, Martin Luther King III and Reverend Al Sharpton said they were seeking a meeting with you. They tried to deliver a letter to your office, and they say they refused. Can you explain what happened, number one? And number two, do you think there is any appetite within your party for this revamped voting rights bill, the freedom to vote out?
Let me say for the umpteenth time, going back to discussions about federalizing the way we handle elections after the 2016 election, that there is no rational basis for the federal government taking over how we conduct elections in this country. Secondly, the Voting Rights Act was not struck down by the Supreme Court. It's still in existence. That is one area where the federal government does say you cannot keep people from voting based upon race. Beyond that, this is not something the federal government has historically been involved in, for good reason. Every state conducts elections differently. You're watching some states pass new laws based upon the experience we had last year during a 100-year pandemic. What do all these new laws have in common? None of them, not one, is designed to suppress the vote based upon race. So there is no reason for the federal government to take over how we conduct elections. It is a solution in search of a problem, and we will not be supporting that. Yeah, I'm calling on the news.
Why did you refuse to meet with them and to accept their letters?
The September 18th rally, you got briefed yesterday by law enforcement. When you said to people who are coming here, you say that they're here to free the political prisoners on January 6th, something that's actually been voiced by some Republicans. What's your response to that?
Well, apparently there is supposed to be a gathering here on the 18th. The Speaker, the Majority Leader, Leader McCarthy, and I had a meeting yesterday with the leaders of the police board. I believe that they're well equipped to handle what may or may not occur. I don't know, Senator Blunt, you want to add anything to that, or is that pretty well covered?
Yeah, I think that covers it. I met with the chief last week, and we're hopeful that the steps that they've taken to be sure that they have the right kind of backup from neighboring agencies, and of course nobody should be better than the chief to figure that out, having been a police chief in one of those agencies, would be a plan that they have a chance to be sure that is there, whether they have to exercise it or not. And I guess if you're looking at the fencing issue, the test of how quickly it gets up and gets down may be a better thing to look at than to continue to talk about a permanent fence around the Capitol.
If the Democrats put in a debt limit increase in the CR at the end of the month, would Republicans defeat that CR?
Yeah, let me be crystal clear about this. Republicans are united in opposition to raising the debt ceiling, not because it doesn't need to be done. So I want to make sure everybody clearly understands this. The last time the debt ceiling was raised, it was done on a bipartisan basis in conjunction with an overall caps agreement, and that debt ceiling increase covers basically what we did last year. This year is unique, and as you all know, I've been here a while. I've never seen such an effort to expand the reach of the federal government like we've been confronted with this year through not but just one reconciliation process, but apparently yet another. So if they want to do all of this on a partisan basis, they have the ability and the responsibility to ensure that the federal government not default, and they will have to take care of that.
Sir, on the
Thank you.
COVID mandates? Sir, on the COVID mandates?